Hey, we're talking about evading arrest or detention with a vehicle, and specifically here in Montgomery County, Texas. Um, this is a very interesting statute. Evading arrest or detention in Texas means a couple things. First, the statute is 38.04 of the Texas Penal Code, and it has a basic part in there that says if you intentionally flee from a police officer, knowing that you are under arrest or being detained, then that's evading arrest or detention. Well, uh, if you have used a motor vehicle during the commission of the offense, if you use that vehicle to help you get away, it doesn't have to be a car. It could be a boat. It could be a ATV. Really, anything that's a motor vehicle. Um, that is evading arrest or detention with that vehicle, and then it enhances it from a misdemeanor class A to a felony. But depending on which jurisdiction you're in, they'll enhance it in different ways. The legislature actually kind of screwed up when they created this law. They created two separate, like full statutes that have different punishment ranges for the same conduct. So, evading arrest or detention with a vehicle in some jurisdictions gets charged as a state jail felony with a max of 2 years in prison. But in Montgomery County, they charge it as 2 to 10 years as a third degree felony. Um, it was a third degree, then they reduced it to a state jail statewide. I think it was about 2013 that it got changed back to the third degree, but they never deleted the old state jail portion. So, there are some jurisdictions that decide, well, we're going to give the defendant the benefit of the doubt here and say the legislature has left these two. One of them has a lower punishment range. We'll say that if you use a watercraft or a motor vehicle, then that means it's going to be a state jail. But Montgomery County interprets it to mean that it's a third degree. And so there's not great agreement on these things. There's been no decisions that force the hand of the prosecutors either way. So, what happens in an evading arrest or detention case? Well, the outcome depends significantly on the factors of dangerousness. So, we have had people who did not realize the police were chasing them. That means if you don't realize the police are after you or trying to detain you, and then you intentionally flee or intentionally or knowingly flee, well, that means you're not guilty of this. And so, trying to get a case dismissed like that, what we'll do is look for things like the speed of the vehicle. So, for example, if you're going 86 miles an hour because you just speed, you continually are going that way, you've got the cruise control on, and you pass by an officer, you were looking at your phone, you never saw him. The officer gets behind you, you got your music up loud, you can't hear him, and you just keep going 86 on cruise control for 3 miles with an officer behind you. You look up in your rearview mirror, see the officer pull over. Most people, when that's the case, they will say something like, officer, I didn't see you, right as soon as the officer gets there. Now, because it's a felony case, the officer may have stopped you, pulled you out at gunpoint. And so it can be very nerve wracking, scary. People will act very strangely when they have a gun trained on them by an officer. So it's not uncommon to see some other activity after the arrest, even if somebody is not intentionally evading that arrest or detention. The other way to get a case like this dismissed is if the police officer has illegally detained you, like they said you were speeding but you weren't, or they said you failed to maintain a single lane, but there was nothing dangerous about it, and that's why they pulled you over, and then you evaded. Well, it has to be a lawful arrest or evading. I'm sorry, a lawful arrest or detention in order for it to be evading arrest. That's not true with resisting arrest, which is often confused. So even if an officer has wrongfully arrested you, you're not allowed to resist. It's only the penal code only has a statute that says you can use force against an officer if they are basically committing an act of police brutality, like you're being arrested for a speeding ticket, you've done nothing to indicate dangerousness, you have no weapons, and then they face plant you into the ground and put you in handcuffs and tase you or something like that. You can resist something like that if they have clearly used excessive force. But other than that, even an illegal arrest cannot be resisted. But an illegal arrest, you will win your case if it's an illegal arrest and you evaded arrest. And so those are really the ways that we win those cases to get a dismissal. If a lot of times we will get a case like a 17 to 20-year-old kid on a motorcycle. They just got it for their birthday, or they bought it with some money they've had it from a job, and they want to go fast. They want to go like 120 down Interstate 45, and they get pulled over, or they freak out because they don't want to get in trouble, and they run instead of just pulling over. They try to juke the cop in a neighborhood in the Woodlands or something like that, and that is evading arrest detention with a vehicle. That's 2 to 10 years in prison. But if you have no criminal history, you're a younger person, we can show that you're having a positive impact on the community, that you have a bright future ahead of you. There's a chance we can get some kind of a probation, like a deferred adjudication probation, that leads to no felony conviction, sometimes even a reduction to a misdemeanor. We've done things like that. And so those are the kind of goals we would have for an evading arrest or detention with a vehicle case for somebody who has no prior criminal history. But if you have evaded and you're weaving in and out of traffic, you're going 120 miles an hour down Interstate 45 in a truck, or even on a motorcycle, these can cause serious deadly accidents. If there is extreme amounts of danger to what you've done, it is going to be very challenging to try to get an offer that doesn't include prison time from the district attorney, especially in Montgomery County. So you'll definitely need somebody experienced on your side. Thanks for watching today. As always, these are for educational purposes. Glad to talk with you about evading arrest and detention with a vehicle. And don't forget to like and subscribe, ring the notification bell. We'll see you next time.